Hello, Johnny Hunt here, and I'm going to do a little video here of a workshop for the Evart FunFest in July of 2012. If you attended that workshop, you might be interested in going back and following up and having a chance to learn a little bit more at your own pace. It's hard to cover everything in a 50-minute workshop, so I kind of have to pick and choose, and maybe some things didn't get covered quite adequately and you'd like a little more individual instruction on that. So that's why I'm making this video, just to tie in with that. You know, a lot of times I'll do a workshop at one of these festivals and people will come up afterward and ask if I have tabs or notes or music or some kind of written material. I usually don't do that, but I thought this might be a good way just to, like I say, do a follow-up and help some of these concepts hit home a little bit more. So the title of the workshop is Drop It, and what it's about is doing alternate tunings for guitar. And most of these tunings are drop tunings, because I never really heard of any alternate tunings where you tune up in pitch but always down. So I'm going to start with some simpler just one string at a time sort of a thing. Try to make sure you cover all the basics here, and you can take this as far as you want. For many years I was a little hesitant to retune the strings, and so maybe you're at that point and you just, if you're looking for something different, something that's a little bit challenging, this is a good way to go. It's almost like playing a whole new instrument, which of course is fun to be able to do. But the downside of that is, I make an analogy like when you're 5 years old and all the kids in the neighborhood are 6 or 7, they've all got bikes, and in the summer they're going up and down the street, and you're still there on your tricycle, and then maybe that Christmas you get that first 2-wheel bike. And so the next spring you're out there with your friends and you got your bike, but it's got training wheels on it. So the other kids are all going faster and you're still getting left in the dust, and what do? You have to take those training wheels off at some point and just come to grips with the fact that you're going to fall down and skin your knees and elbows and going to have to get back up and get on that bike. You have to fall down a few times before you can learn to ride like the big kids do. And it's the same way with learning anything on guitar or any other musical instrument, or really any other pursuit. You have to be willing to step off of first base if you want to get to second base. So you have to leave the comfort of, maybe 6 or 8 chords and you can sing all your Hank Williams songs, or simple folk songs, or strum along in a big group, and that's fine, because a lot of people get all the satisfaction that they are looking for out of doing that. But I think at some point you just need to move ahead a little bit. So take that mindset that you have to go backward before you can go forward. You have to put aside those familiar ways, like making a D chord. You've been doing the 3-finger cowboy chords if you've been playing guitar for even 6 months or so. But you have to just say, yeah, I know how to do that, but I'm going to learn another way. And you'll find when you have more than one way to make a chord, it'll add interest both to you, the player, and to any potential people that might want to listen to you. And it's just fun to learn new things. So that's kind of the philosophy behind doing different tunings on the guitar. So don't be afraid to try something different, and just accept the fact that you're not going to be as good at it the first day as you are playing your guitar the way you've been playing it for months or years even. So that being said, we start with standard tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E. And the first tuning I want to talk about is called dropped D tuning. And it's real simple to do. And all you do is take your low E string here and tune it down from E to D. So if you got your little portable tuner here, just go ahead and start cranking her down until you hit D, and then you want to come back up to the note. You also want to tighten to arrive at the note that you're looking for. So we're just going to bring it back up to D here. Sometimes when you tune one string, it'll affect some of the other ones. So if you get a chance, it's good to recheck and make sure all the other strings are still in tune after you alter your tuning. And I'm not real precise or fussy, but you know, it's better to be tuned than not to be tuned. So if you're in range, you're good there. So this is drop D tuning, and the blessing or the big plus about dropping your E string down to D is that when you play in the key of D, you've got two roots. So now you've got two Ds instead of a clumsy E. So you've got 1, 5, and 1. So that's half a D chord right there just with open strings. And the other exciting thing about drop D tuning is all the fingerings, other than with this bass E string, are the same. So you can still play your same D shape, where you might just normally play the top 5 strings and leave the low E string out. You've got another bass right in there. And it's really nice to have that deep sound. You know, I play fingerstyle a lot. I'm going to show you some things for fingerstyle where you're arpeggiating chords and picking the melody. I'm also going to show you some flat pick things. In fact, I think I'll do that first. Just some positions and ways that you can play some of these familiar chords. So if you're playing along with a group that's playing a song in D, this is a great way to go about it. Like I said, most of the chords are familiar and built on the chords that you already know. So it's not, don't think of it as daunting or overly challenging, all right? You have to push yourself a little bit, but you can do this, all right? So here's just your open 0, 0, 0, 3 open strings, 2, 3, 2. So you can just kind of strum along on that. D7th is the same as what you're used to. It's just 0, 0, 0, 2, 1, 2. And when you go to a D7th, you'll know from your theory that that's leading most likely to the 4 chord, which is a G. So if you're in standard tuning, here's your G, 3, 2, open, 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 3. But since you've tuned this D string down, you can either play it open, all right? So because a D is still in the D note is still in your G chord, and instead of making it 3, 2, 3, just leave this open and have 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 3. There's your individual notes. However, that's not the first choice because you don't have a nice solid G in the bass till you get to the 4th string. So here's a D, a B, a D, and then here's a G. So what you want to work on doing here is using your thumb. You know, a lot of people are using 3 fingers when you start out making chords, cowboy chords. You know, they're in the first position and they're easy to make and you only need 3 fingers. But I would challenge you to remember that you have 5 fingers and not just 3. And now we're going to start using your thumb in this case to make your G chord. And since we have D-A-D, 1, 5, 1 here in the bass on a D chord, if you move that up 5 frets, it becomes G-D-G. So, you know, and we've got pretty much an open G chord here. So if we don't want this E in it, because that would give us a add 6, so we're going to still make our 3rd fret of the 6th string. And we're just going to do a thumb wrap here. And if these were tuned right, we'd be going from A to D on the 2nd string, A, B, C sharp, D. So as many of these strings as you can get with your thumb, but especially this bass string. And you can't really play the 5th string, or I count my strings differently. We can't play this open A string as part of the chord. So you either have to thumb it or leave it out. Another thing you can do is, if you're a rock guy, they have what they call power chords, which are all roots and fifths. So for a G chord, which is a G major, which is G, B, and D, G is the root, B is the 3rd, and D is the 5th. And a power chord would just have G's and D's in it. So here, another way you can do that is two fingers or two strings with the thumb at the 5th fret, two strings with the pointer finger at the 3rd fret, and then that gives you G, D, G, and D, G on the top. And if you're thumbing and you don't want this A string, another thing you can do is just you kind of mute it with your thumb. So you can go ahead and blast the whole chord, but it's not going to ring, nobody's going to hear it, which you don't want anyway. So and it's not that hard to do. Just relax your hand. You know, if you're all tensed up, it's going to be difficult. So just, you know, it's just a nice easy. And then back to your D chord, which is. And if you're playing what we call a 1-4-5 song, which is like 1st, 4th, and 5th chords, like most folk songs or cowboy songs that you're familiar with, the D is the 1 chord, the G is the 4 chord, D, E, F sharp, G, and so the 5 chord that you want would be A or A7th. And since everything's the same except the bass, this low E string, which is now a D string, it's the same shape. However you make your A, some people make it this way. I like to go middle finger, pointer, ring finger. I have big fingers and that's just how it fits. Or you can make it all, you know, with one finger here too. So however you want to make that is fine. And again, here's your A bass. And instead of having a D, you want to go back to the E, so you're going to wrap your thumb around at the 2nd fret of the E, the low D string. And however, you know, if you're just doing an alternating bass, there you go. And then back to your D chord. So that's your basic 1-4-5 chords in drop D. You're probably going to also want to know some of the typical minor chords you might use, like an E minor. Standard tuning, it's 0-2-2-0-0-0. So if we've got to come up 2 frets on this bass string, then you can just do a thumb wrap, 2-2-2. That's your E minor, 2-2-2-0-0-0. B minor is the same. And 2 ways to do it, however you're accustomed. And you know, whenever I say there's 2 ways to do a chord, which one do I learn is the question you will ask, and I will say you learn both of them, and then you have variety, and that adds interest to the song. So learn them both, all right? So here's the, let's see, it'd be 0-0-4-4-3-2. So we got D, A, which we don't want. So probably the preferred way would be to bar here. Leave this open, because now instead of being a low E, it's a low D. And the B minor chord is B, D, F sharp. So D's in the chord, we can leave it in. But we like having this bass here. So it would be bar at the 2nd. So I'm going X, I'm not using this D string. I've got it there and I can use it. So I'm just going 2, 4, 4, 3, 2. So that's B minor. Another B minor's up here. I'm going to save some of the next stuff. We'll get into that too. So, you know, there's 5 basic chords. If you're playing like an E7th, which would be the 2 chord, you know, like an E minor is a 2 minor. 2/7 is E7th, and you just however you want to do it. You know, here's your standard E. So, thumb wrap here. You go from D to E. So it's 2-2-2-1-0-0. here's your standard tuning E7, one of them. 2, 2, 2, 1, 3, 0. Just turning this fourth string from an E to a D. 2, 2, 0, 1, 0, 0. That's a full E. You got all 6 strings. You got E, B, E in the bass. Again, the nice thing about the drop D tuning is having 1, 5, 1 on your bass strings. And so if you're doing alternate bass, you're good there too. And as long as you're fretting them all at the same fret, like a G chord, it still holds true. Okay, so that's just 5 songs to, 6 chords to get you started in drop D tuning for just doing the strumming thing. There's another thing you can do just with the inside strings, the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. 3-finger chords you can make and just use the 2 bass strings and also the high string, which is still tuned E, as a drone. And you'll find that even though the E is not in the D or A chord, or the D or G chords, you can still leave it open and drone along. It kind of gets lost and just adds a little more color to some of your chords. I'm going to show you what I mean there. Here's your standard D chord. So what I want to do is leave the top E string open, and it'd be this sort of a D chord. So I'm taking this 4th string and fretting it at the 4th fret. But like I said, I'm going to leave the 1st, 2nd, and 6th strings open. So this would be a D add 9, which it sounds a little bit unresolved, because it is. But you're going to find, when we play the other chords, it's just that open E drone is going to kind of get lost. So here we have 0, 0. All these chords are going to be 0, 0. Fingered 3 strings and 0 on the top. So we're just working with the 4, 3, and 2 strings. And the next chord will be a G chord, which is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 5, 4, 3, 0. Like you're playing, your G chord, or this, however you want to make this slightly up the neck G chord. 3 strings. So if 5, 4, 3 are parts of a G chord, what happens if we move that up 2 half steps? That becomes 7, 6, 5, and that becomes an A chord. So back to G, back down 2 frets, and then back to our D. Which you'll just be doing the standard E minor. You still got this top drone. Back to D. Back to A. And here's another D chord. You know your A shape, which is 0, 0, 2, 2, 2, 0 in standard tuning. We're just going to slide it up 5 frets to the 7th fret. There's another D. It's hard to do them all with 1 finger and be picked up enough to still let this top E string ring open. So I'm going to suggest making it the same way as you make your A chord, except going from the 2nd fret up to the 7th. Back to the other original D, E minor, back to D, A, high D, 7, 7, 7, and then our D shape that we started with, up 5 frets, it becomes G, so we're at 9, 7, 8, again with our 0, 0, 0, the 1st, 2nd, and 6th open, back to D, 7, 7, 7, and then A, if this is G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 2 more half steps up is A. And then here we got a C sharp, which is telling us we're getting close to the top. Because the ear is mostly hearing whatever note is on the top. And by the time we're this high up, this C sharp is higher than this E. And then the last chord is the G A shape. It's G here at 5-4-3, it's A at 7-6-5. So at 12-11-10, it's another open D. Back down to A, to G, to D with 7-7-7, G at 5-4-3, 4-2-3, E minor, A, and if you want to close it, you just make your F chord that you learned up here at, you got open, open, 12, 11, 10, 10. Either way, so I'll just kind of go back through those again. This is just chords on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings with 3 drone strings. E minor. Okay, here's F sharp minor. So if we got E, B, E here, and we go up 2 frets, that gives us F sharp, C sharp, F sharp. So I got 3-3-3, I'm sorry, 4-4-4, 2-2-2. And then G. G. High D, 7-7-7. 9-7-8. Too, if you don't have a cutaway, that's about as far as you're going to get is 14, 15, 14. Maybe you can reach up here. Here's another D chord. All right, I showed you this one to start out. D A D A D A, another power chord. No F sharps in there. The thing about power chords, with they just have roots and fifths, is that the ear can't distinguish. It's the 3rd that makes it major or minor, and so there's no 3rd, so it could be either D major or D minor. I don't know why that might be particularly useful, but you know that, and so you can call this, you can substitute just a 1 and 5 D chord for a D minor chord. Here's another G chord. I showed it this way when we just had the drone strings. So this is open, and I'm thudding out. I don't want the A. This is 9, 7, 8, 7. I'm going to move it up 2. Now I want the bass because I got an A bass with an A chord. High D. So that's for the strummers. So if you play with a flat pick and you just want to play chords and play rhythm, that gives you some things you can do in this drop to D tuning. So I'm going to put my flat pick away. Like I say, I'm more inclined to play finger style. I like to play melodies and lead stuff, and you can start with simple songs, just kind of work them out, and you can get as complicated as you want if you're going to get into weird jazz chords and whatnot. I'm not quite at that point, but a lot of times big guys will play familiar tunes in some of these drop tunings. So. song everybody pretty much has heard before, and if you haven't, you need to start listening to more CDs, okay? Very famous folk song by Woody Guthrie. So, and the melody is just, you know, out of your standard D shape. So it's 5th string at the 3rd fret, 4th string open, 4th string 2nd fret, and then we're going to a G chord. Here's the melody on top, and then back to D, 6th string 2nd fret, 5th at the 3rd, 4th open, 6th at the 2nd fret, and then to an A chord, open 6th string, 5th at the 3rd, 4th open, back to D chord, G chord, A chord, melody on the top, close enough that nobody's going to be seriously injured. All right? And then the main thing when you're playing fingerstyle, if you're playing lead or rhythm, is keep that bass going. That rhythm is the first element of any song, and you just got to keep that alternating bass, or even if you're just doing the same thing every time, just kind of keep in time for yourself. Whatever you're doing on the treble strings with your fingers, whether you're playing the lead or just playing chords, there's a lot more room for variation there. You can get away with a lot of other things, but just got to keep that steady driving time. That's another, I wanted to mention another D chord that's up the neck a little bit. This is a good one to know. It's open, 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 7, 7, 5. Okay, so learn that one. Just looking at some notes I made here, make sure I covered everything. D major. G minor. Thing about the G minor is I'm turning this G on the 4th string from an open G into a B minor by fretting it at the 3rd fret. So here I've got, I'm turning it into a B flat, not a B minor. It's a G minor chord. So I've got B flat, D, and G. Here's my A. Learn this chord. It's a good hand. It's 3 fingers, just like you're used to here. So it's no harder. All right. So again, 0, 0, 0, 7, 7, 5. And then you know, with this DAD, you can do just about any kind of song, like a blues song. I'm doing is I'm leaving this open, so I've got 0, 0, 0, 3, 2, and I'm lifting, I'm just alternating. This is basically the grip I'm using, but I'm only doing the middle finger or the ring finger. So here's my D chord, and then I'm just throwing in a F natural here on the D string. So It's 00320X. And then I'm going to a G chord, G7th actually. So here's my 5/5. Here's my F sharp, not my F sharp, my F natural. So I'm on the 5th string at the 6th, 5th, 3rd fret. Then back to my D. I'm sliding up from the E note. This is an A7th. Here's A. Just like D here becomes D7th here, A here becomes A7th here. And I'm dropping it down 2 frets to G7th. Another D7th, 7, 7, 7, 8. And then my G. So this is a little bit of a stretch. And I'm going to go to like a long A shape in standard tuning. Moved up 5 frets, and it's a long D. Then back to A7th. So that's a good load of information about drop to D tuning. So I'll take a little break here and come back and we'll try another alternate tuning. Okay, so now I'd like to do another dropped tuning. I call it dropped G, and I think the technical name is G6 tuning. And the way you do dropped G tuning is you already got your D dropped, or your E dropped to D. And the next thing you're going to do is take your 5th string and tune it down from A to G. So now we've got D, G, D, G, D. So the 5 low strings are all basically an open G chord, and still got an E here on the top end. So it's actually, of course, you're going to use this tuning if you're playing mostly songs in the key of G. Like say you got 5, 6 of a G chord here without even using your left hand, and all you can do is drop in your whatever finger you're using on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and there's your G chord. So, you know, what can be simpler than that? Again, the thing about doing all these drop tunings that I'm showing you here today are we're just tuning down the bass strings. And so the top 4 strings are all the same fingerings. You can still use those familiar shapes, just with some modifications on the bass end, like I showed you with the thumb. We'll do some more of that here in drop G tuning. So, of course, that's the simple G chord. You've got root, 5th, root, and you got another 5th here on the bottom end. But really the cool thing about this tuning is you can use a lot of double strings. So I'll show you that too when we get to that point. I want to just show you first the basic chords. And since you got a chord open here for your G chord, 1 finger chords for C and D kind of follow along. So the 4 chord would be A, B, C. So that's just a bar at the 5th fret. Now I'm playing this string, but I don't really want it, so I can either go up 3 frets like I did here in my open G, make my C this way, or I can kind of flood it out by the way I'm barring the chord. And then of course the open, or the D chord is the 7th fret. Still use your other shapes pretty much, like your C chord that you're familiar. You've got a G here, which is in the chord. Again, the problem here with this C shape is you don't have a root. You don't have a C anywhere. So you got E, G, E, G, and then here's your only C. So I like this one better. From E to G here. Here's your power chord G, D, G, D, G, D, G. A lot of bluegrass guys, even in standard tuning, they'll play a G. With this, it'd be 3, 2, 0, 0, 3, 3, and that gives them that same just 1s and 5s in the chord. So, in our open tuning, it's just... And you can use this this D that I showed you, the 7-7-5. This you don't want. This is a G note now instead of an A, so you want to avoid that. I'm thumbing here and I'm getting a double G. If the guitar's tuned right, it'll sound the same. You can tell there's a little bit of variety there. Okay, the same D shape at the 7th, 8th, and 7th, 0, 0, 0, 7, 8, 7, another G. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 8. Because we got E, A, E, G, because I'm out of fingers unless I do it this way. That turns this G into an A. And then C and E. E minor. C. How about E minor? We got E, fretting at the 2nd, G, E again, fretting at the 2nd fret, so it's 202, and open on the 202, 0, 0, 0, so your E minor. I'm accenting the chord on the bass end. I'm kind of overlooking. You kind of get in different registers sometimes if you're playing, I don't know how to describe it. This is E minor too. We're just bringing this high E up to a high G. D7th. Avoiding the 2nd string open, which is G. C. G's and C's all day. G. D chord, G, just running down, 10, 8, 7, 5, G chord. The 4-3-2 strings that we talked about in the drop D tuning. It'll work better if we tune this 6th string down to D. It just have straight open D tuning. That's a whole different cup of tea that I think I'm going to save that for another time. Problem when you start tuning treble strings down is you break a lot of them, like especially this E string, which is O12 or O11 depending on what gauge strings you're using. So you know, when you get to that point where you want to start tuning treble strings down, it's great to do, but I suggest you go out and buy yourself a pack of just high E strings, because say up and down 5 or 6 times and then they start snapping, and that's no fun, especially when you're in performing or in the middle of having a good time and you got to change a busted string. So we'll save that for another day. We'll just go with our drop G tuning here. So This Land Is Your Land, another song you can pick your way through. So here's the melody: D, G, D, G on the 4-string open. Second fret, open 5th string, and then a C chord. So now I'm at the 4th string at the 5th fret for my melody, which is a C note. Or I can do this shape, which is the 5th string at the 1st fret. I told you about having double strings, okay? So this land is my land. So, here's the obvious choice, is to just play the B string open. Or you can slide up the 4th string to the 4th fret, and then you got 2 Bs here. Go here. D chord. Here's another chord, just one finger thing, using your pinky in a D chord to get this F sharp note. It takes a little time to learn, but it's very important and valuable. It's the best way, because if you're playing fingerstyle, you're going to need that note a lot, especially if playing in D or G. So work on that, just running up from the D, E, F sharp, G out of a D chord. Alright, we're going to retune here, get it right. So again, This Land Is Your Land in G. C chord. I like it better this way because I got a C bass down here, which I don't have anymore because I've tuned from G to C, or from A to, I'm sorry, this 2nd string is no longer A but G. So to get a bass string, I got to go down here, and I can't reach that far by making my 1st position C. So I'm gonna make it here. 4th string, open 2nd fret, 4th fret, with the parallel 5th string open. 4th, 5th open, and a D chord, second fret, open, second fret of the 4th string, and then just the open G, melody on the 5th string, open, walking up to C, that's just another way of doing it. Instead of just leaving it here the whole time, I'm just going to to a D chord, 4th string, 2nd fret. One simple song, finger style, all right? Good Time Charlie in dropped G. A minor. Okay, A minor, you can thumb here if you want, but I'm just leaving it out. So I got X, 2, 2, 2, 1, O, open. C chord, D, using my D bass. I'm sliding on the 3rd string from the 2nd fret up to the 5th and getting that double G. And these are called parallel 6. So I'm on the 4th and 5th strings. Open, 2, 1, open, 4, 3, 2, 1, open. Just the 4th string at the 2nd fret. A minor. And the melody is 4th string at the 2nd, 3rd, 5th string open, 4th string 2nd, 3rd string 2nd. Still over the C minor, 5th string, 1st, open, 4th at the 2nd, 4th open, and then a C chord either here or here. D. Sliding. And now I'm on the 5th and 3rd string. Open, open, 2nd, 1st, 4th, 3rd, 5th and 5th, and I got the G open in between them, so I'm picking with the 3 fingers. And there's kind of a pregnant pause there. Marching right back down. 4 and 3, 2 and 1, open, and then A minor with a B note on top. So I'm just X0, X222, open, and then I'm hammering and pulling 0, 1, 0, and then down a string to the 4th string. Thumping that D and the bass over the D chord. So 4th string, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, open, 3rd string, 2nd, 4th open, that's a finger style thing. I don't know if I showed you up the neck chords in G, but it's the D shape, up 5. So it's either 0, 0, 0 or 0, 0, 9, then 7, 8, 7 on the top. chord, 5, 5, 5, 8. D chord, 7, 7, 7, 7, 10. Open on the bottom. Kind of a hard one, but this is, you know, just a variation of this with this thrown in. This was actually open, open, 9, 7, 8, 10. And if you want to play an F chord, it's just down 2 steps. G, F, C, G, F, C, G. So that's dropped G tuning. I'm going to show you one more, which I call dropped C tuning. Again, we're just building off what we've already done. So we got D, G, D, G, B, E. I'm going to turn this low D down another full step to C. I got a little bit of buzz in my guitar, so I think it needs a little luthier type attention, but we'll go ahead and press on here anyway. There's C. I got C, G, E. So I got C and G. I got a root and a fifth here in on the bass end to do my alternating bass. Here's D minor, and I need to get a D note, so I'm going to thumb it at the 2nd fret of the C. What's now the C string. I'm going to leave the G out. So I got D, D. I have A, D, F natural. So if I want an E minor from D minor, up 2 frets, F, it's a D shape, moved up 3, and thumbing the F here. Another C, open, open, 5, 5, 5, 8, familiar shape. G, F, C, D minor, G, F, another F, G, high G, C. Really high. G, F. Same shape, you know, it's just 5, 5, 5, 8 thing, except I'm taking the top 2 strings at the 8th fret. Joy to the world, okay? It's just a walk down octave kind of a thing. F, G, back to C. It's nice. It's a little, you know, we're 2 whole steps down from where we usually are. to get to the C, so that's part of the reason we got some buzz, a little fret noise here. But it's really nice to have, like I say, have a roots and fifths in the bass, which is the advantage of doing all these dropped tunings, which is why I thought it's worthwhile to make this video in the first place. So that'll give you some ideas. I hope you find this an interesting thing. I think what you need to do is, first, it's nice if you have a second guitar where you can do some of these tunings and not mess up your main guitar. So, you know, if you got a second guitar in the closet or that you don't use as much, get it out and start with the drop D tuning. Pick one song that you like and that you know and learn it that way. You know, practice doing these chords and you'll find things on your own too. Just by fooling around and trying things, you'll see things that work. This whole, both the video and the class at Evart are meant to be a kickoff point for you to go and explore and learn things on your own. Because like I say, in an hour it's hard, you can't teach everything you'd ever want to know about a subject. But if there's enough here to spark your interest, I think you can start running with it. And you know, if you run into things where you're getting bogged down, send me a note. I chose to put this video on my instructional YouTube channel, which I use for teaching uke songs, finger style, chord melody style. So that's why I put it here. So send me a note at this email, chordmelodyyuke@yahoo.com, and just mention that you were at Evart and you want to learn more. And if you have a particular question, I'll be happy to try to answer that for you. So with that, thanks for watching. Good luck to you. I'm here to help in any way I can. And I'm Johnny Hunt signing off. You know, if you're interested in acoustic music, I've got a band with some really highly talented singers and musicians. I'd invite you to take a look at that too. It's another YouTube channel, youtube.com/Muzyka, MUZYKA 2007, and that's got some concert footage and different songs that we do. You're welcome to take a look at that. Also look at the band website, www.muzykamusic.com, and that's got a calendar on there. It's got some samples from our CDs and just pictures and bios and all kinds of other propaganda. So you're welcome to take a look at that too. So again, Johnny Hunt, thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you again soon.